For Creamer Media's Polity, I'm Shannon de Rehove. Filmmaker Tarryn Crossman joins me to discuss her controversial new documentary, Fatherland. Welcome, Tarryn.
Hi.
Your documentary, Fatherland, is a hard, unscripted look inside the Commando Corps military boot camps being run inside some Afrikaans rural communities. What made you particularly focus on this topic?
It wasn't, the reason why we made the film, I was living in New York at the time, and I'd read an article in the Mail and Guardian which spoke about these hate camps or the camps that were taking place, the Commando Corps. And I was actually just looking for a film to make. I wanted to come home and make a film that we could do in a short period of time. So I started contacting the Commando Corps, and it took us about 6 months to get access to them. The main motivation for doing the film was curiosity. I mean, I wanted to know what exactly was happening inside the camps. And then also, just from a human interest point of view, we wanted to see if it was possible to actually change the ideology of a young boy in 9 days. So those were our main, I mean, I'm not a political filmmaker, you know, like I'm not, that's not my forte. Yeah. So there was no political drive or motivation behind making the film. Okay. It was very much, we found the topic interesting and we managed to get access.
How did you gain access to the camps, and did you stay there during the duration of the filming?
Yeah, it took us, like I said, it took us quite a while. I mean, I think it was about June 2012, I was living in New York, and I started phoning. And I probably contacted the Commando Corps for about 3 or 4 months before France agreed to actually meet me. And then I had a meeting with France, and he agreed to let me live in the camps and document the camps, all access, if I agreed to just make a film that told the truth. And not a film from my perspective, or a film with a voiceover, or a film that had an opinion. He just wanted me to document exactly what happened in the camps, which is what I think we did.
What was the most difficult part of filming this documentary, and what do you hope viewers will take from it?
I mean, living in the camps wasn't, I mean, it sounds harder. We lived there for 9 days, so it got a bit taxing. It was hot and it was hard, and we were running with the boys. But I think it was hard because the boys, we tried to tell the film through the eyes of these young boys, through the kind of born-free generation, instead of from the old regime. But they're teenagers, so gaining their trust was almost another whole level of the film. So that was quite hard for me, to get them to emotionally connect with me, because boys are very distant, you know. So I think that for me was probably one of the hardest parts.
And what do you hope the people who watch it will gain from it?
It's been a big thing for us. I mean, the whole year has been quite a difficult... I, at some point, even thought maybe I shouldn't release the film. Is South African ready for this film? Do I really need to tell the story? Does anyone need to know about it? And I came to the resolve that we found out, by living in the camps, we got access to find out exactly what was happening in these camps. Some of the parents didn't even know what was happening, what their boys were going through. And that was kind of our motivation. We want to, just allow people to know the truth about what's happening in the camps and make up their own mind about how they feel about it, which is providing information. And then at the same time, open debate. Like, I've had a lot of criticism that these things, I'm bringing us back or taking us back to the old regime. And it's like, this is a documentary film. I didn't make the camp up. It's a truth. It exists. Yeah. It is the truth. I'm not making it the truth. You know what I mean? So for me, it's very much about allowing people to know that these exist and then open debate themselves, you know.
Which brings me to the next question. Do you believe the film perpetuates the racial stereotypes about South Africa's Afrikaans population?
I think one thing that needs to be clear up front about the film, which we've actually put a disclaimer on the feature film itself as well, is that this film represents a minority fringe group. Doesn't represent the majority of white Afrikaans-speaking South Africans. The Commando Corps represent Afrikaans nationalism, you know what I mean? So in a way, their organisation and the ideology of that organisation is perpetuating the stereotype. I mean, what we try to do over and over again, like I try to explain, it's like we try to make a verite film. Like, we try to make a film that just tells the truth about what we saw. And unfortunately, a lot of what we saw on the camps was stereotypical Afrikaans nationalism, you know? So
there isn't really much you can do about that particular topic.
Yeah. I mean, that's what the camps are about. They're a right-wing camp that believe in Afrikaans nationalism, you know?
We just have to know that it's not the majority.
No, exactly. I mean, it's like any right-wing group. They're extremists, you know? I mean, and France will agree, they are a right-wing organisation.
What is your hope for the future of South Africa, particularly for the youth?
You know, it was just like, I think that's what I found kind of sad when we were doing the film, because first of all, I had never been exposed to this level of ideology before, so it was all very new to me. And but when I saw the way the young boys were believing in segregation and separation between black and white, that was really heartbreaking for me, because I really think in so many ways we have made massive giant leaps towards uniting South Africa, you know, and we are, there's so much positivity and we're moving forward every day, but these small minority groups and this kind of fraction of society does exist. And if your parents are thinking this, your parents are telling you this, and even though you're believing it at home and keeping it behind closed doors, doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So my hope is that, like, I don't know, I want black and white people to hook up and date and there's like things to be normal, and for you to be able to be proud of your culture and your race, but not to mean that you segregated from someone else or separated from another culture or race, you know?
That we can all just be respectful of each other's differences.
I mean, I don't think that being Afrikaans is a whole culture. It's an identity, and you're allowed to have that identity. You shouldn't be ashamed of it, you know? But that identity doesn't mean that you cannot associate with black people, you know? That's where I kind of want us to be.
Thank you so much for your time, Tarryn.
Thanks.
That was documentary filmmaker Tarryn Crossman speaking about her new documentary, Fatherland.